Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tim Johnson, your host for Build It Your Own Catapult. I'm here with world-renowned inventor Andrew Glover. He is here today to show us how to build his amazing invention, a fully operational desktop catapult.
That's right, Tim. During this show, I'm going to show you how to take this seemingly unrelated pile of junk, turn it into this, a fully functioning desktop catapult. I'll start with a list of tools you'll need. You at home are going to need a saw, a power drill with a 1/2-inch drill bit, the paddle bit works best, a hammer, a pair of pliers, and a pair of scissors probably wouldn't be a bad idea. On the materials side, you're going to need a 2x4, a 1/2-inch diameter dowel, a 7/16 diameter dowel, 2 replacement slingshot yoke kits, the replacement bands to repair a slingshot. You're going to need 2 of those, a tub of petroleum jelly, duct tape, twine or any string really. You'll probably need a ruler as well, nails, a Coke bottle cap, and cable ties, also called zip ties, the large kind and the small. All right, now, first step is taking your 2x4 and cutting out a piece that is 6.5 inches long. And set that aside. Then take your dowel rods, take your 1/2-inch dowel and cut it into 2 rods that measure 7.5 inches. Set those aside, and then cut out 1 piece that's 3.5 inches. Set those aside. Take your 7/16 and again cut it out to 7.5 inches. And then take your slingshot yokes and cut the rubber bands off right behind where they attach to the little piece of black leather. These are going to be what gives the catapult its power. Now, take your 2x4 and drill 2 holes near the top edge, about a 1/4 of an inch back from the front edge and about a 1/2 inch from both sides. Right like this. And then take your 2 posts, the 1/2-inch dowel rods, and your duct tape, and you're going to want to wrap the bottoms of these dowel rods with the tape. This will give you a better grip in the holes when you go to put them in there. Now, this part is tricky because if you put too much on the dowel rod, it's not going to fit. And if you put too little, it's not going to fit right. So you have to try and get this part right. And it is a little bit tricky. Wrap it around.
Notice the precision he uses when he does this step.
No, they won't like that. And see if it fits. It should fit just snug. That doesn't fit. So take a little bit more duct tape. Wrap it around there. Should fit snug. And you may need to tap it in there with a hammer. Now, when you do this, be careful because if you go too fast, you could split the wood and might have to start all over again. Repeat with the other 7.5 inches. Okay, now that you've done that, you're going to want to take your rubber bands. Well, actually, first, take your petroleum jelly and put just a little bit on the 2 posts. This will make it much easier putting the bands on, just enough to make the posts slippery. And you're probably going to want to wash your hands or wipe them off really good before you start working with the rubber bands, because even if you think you've gotten it all off your hands, it's still going to be hard to handle them. Now, take your bands and tie them like this. I think that's a square knot. And then take them like this and thread them onto your posts. Slide them down to about an inch, inch and a half above the body. And then take your small zip ties, hold this please, and pull that out just a little bit. Pull the knot back to where you expose some rubber band behind it and put the zip tie right behind the knot. This will keep it from untying itself when you let go. Okay. Repeat that with the other ones with the knot on the opposite side. I'll show you. Like this. Alternating as you go up. Back and forth. Oh, about like that. And then once you get all 4 of them on there, work them down to where there's not much space in between them. You almost want them touching. And then take your pliers or your scissors and cut off the excess from the zip ties. Now that you've got your bands on there, take 2 nails and put them in the side of the body, back here, about a half an inch in from the end and right in the middle, like right here. And then repeat on the other side, trying to get them about even with each other. These are what you're going to rig your trigger to. Excuse me. No, might be able to do it like this.
The catapult was first used around 350 BC by the Greeks. Alexander the Great also used the catapult for covering his troops on attacks. Alexander also learned that the catapult made a superb siege weapon. The catapult was last used during warfare during World War I, when the troops would use the catapults to fire hand grenades over no man's land into enemy trenches. Eventually, the catapults were exchanged for mortars, but the catapult still lives on in people's memory.
All right. Now take your string or twine, whatever you use, take out about 6 inches worth. You at home can use a pair of scissors, and tie one end of it to one of your nails. This is going to work as your trigger when you put your swing arm on there. Catapults were also the original biological warfare. During long sieges, the attacking army would load disease-ridden bodies and throw them into the city they were attacking. Pleasant thought. Now, take your 7/16 dowel rod and take a small, or narrow rather, piece of duct tape and wrap it about, let's say about 1/4 of an inch down from the top of the rod. This will give your basket something to hold on to, so when you fire it, it doesn't go halfway across your yard or whatever. Then take your Coke cap and put 2 holes in it like this. You can use the drill, obviously, but be very careful because this thing could slip out of your grip and you could hurt yourself, or even a craft knife and just bore it out. And one of your larger zip ties, and thread it through the holes with the head on the outside.